You know that feeling when you finally splurge on a cheap, budget dishwasher, only to discover a half-filled rack that smells like burnt plastic after the first wash? I've seen that regret play out on forums, in kitchen renovation videos, and even in my own friends' apartments. It makes you wonder whether spending a little more on a name-brand model actually saves you from the headache later. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video I'm going to walk through the 100 series 24-inch Bosch front control tool tub dishwasher and see if it really lives up to the promise of great tools at a great price, or if it's just another shiny box that looks good on paper. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have with a 24-inch built-in is the fit. Kitchen cabinets are unforgiving. A few millimeters off and you're either forced to shave down the countertop or you end up with an unsightly gap. The Bosch 100 series arrives pre-assembled with a front control panel that slides right into the standard opening, so the installation step is straightforward if you're comfortable with basic plumbing. That's a practical win for anyone who's already planning a remodel or replacing a failing unit. No custom framing needed. However, if you're trying to squeeze a dishwasher into a tight nook that was originally designed for a compact 18-inch model, you'll hit the wall fast. The tall tub gives you an extra inch of interior height, which is great for larger plates and casserole dishes, but it also demands a full-size cabinet space. Now, let's talk about daily use. I tested the machine over a 2-week period, running everything from a greasy pizza pan to delicate wine glasses. The first thing that stands out is the quietness. At 50 dBA it's about as loud as a normal conversation, which means you can run it overnight without waking the whole house. In a real-world kitchen, that matters when you're cooking dinner and want the dishwasher humming in the background rather than shouting over your stovetop. The hybrid stainless steel tub is the technology Bosch touts for better heat retention, and I actually felt the difference when I compared it to my older plastic tub unit. The water stayed hotter throughout the cycle, which translated into cleaner dishes on the final rinse. If you're someone who regularly loads pots and pans that have baked-on sauce, that extra heat retention helps dissolve food residues without needing a pre-wash. On the flip side, the front control layout is minimalist, which many users appreciate for its clean look, but it also means the button panel can be a little fiddly when your hands are wet. The touch-sensitive knobs don't give you the tactile click you get on rotary dials, so there's a learning curve if you're used to older models. I found myself pressing a button twice on the first few loads just to make sure it registered. That's not a deal breaker, but it's something to be aware of if you value an instantly obvious control feel. One of the practical strengths that shows up when you actually load the machine is the adjustable upper rack. The tines slide forward and backward, letting you accommodate tall baking trays on the bottom while still fitting a few mugs on the top. In my kitchen, I often have a 9-inch casserole dish that barely fits in a standard dishwasher. With the Bosch, I simply pull the upper rack back and the dish slides in without crowding the lower rack. That flexibility is a real time saver on busy weeknights when you're juggling multiple meals. What about the cycle options? The 100 series keeps it simple with a few core programs: auto, heavy, normal, and a quick 30-minute wash. The auto cycle uses a sensor to gauge soil level, which is handy if you're not sure how dirty the load is. I ran a mixed load: some lightly soiled plates, a greasy skillet, and a few plastic containers, and the auto program adjusted the water temperature and spray intensity on the fly. The dishes came out spotless, and I didn't notice any leftover residue on the skillet, which is a common failure point on cheaper models. The heavy cycle, as expected, took longer and used more water, but it tackled a burn-ton lasagna pan that I'd given up on with my previous dishwasher. If you're a family that cooks big meals regularly, that heavy setting is worth the extra run time. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: price versus performance. The 100 series sits in the mid-range bracket for Bosch, cheaper than the flagship 800 series but pricier than a generic brand. For the price, you get a stainless steel interior, quiet operation, and a solid set of core cycles, but you miss out on some of the premium features like Wi-Fi connectivity or a built-in soil sensor that adjusts water usage on a per-load basis. If you're hunting for a smart dishwasher that you can start from your phone, you'll have to look elsewhere. But if your goal is simply a reliable machine that doesn't scream, leaves dishes clean, and fits a standard cabinet, the trade-off feels reasonable. Who should buy this?